All right, so we're back in the shop on blocks. Wheels are off. We're gonna try and get another adjustment in on the brakes. And you know, when you have BRMs, you gotta take the wheels off to adjust the brakes. So I got a stock wheel over here that I'm gonna bolt on and get all that adjusted. The brakes are working fine. The only problem I had was a binding on the brake pedal. And when I pulled the pedal assembly out, I knew the hook was a little bit bad, and I didn't realize that the hook was up, 58 to 64 style hook, where it's supposed to be straight like we see here. So I was going to change it out, and then I realized that, for one, I wanted to run a roller pedal, so I'm going to get rid of the late model style. And this push rod here was actually bent. I had to take it out and beat it with a hammer to straighten it out. I imagine since this was a drag car, everybody was, whoever was driving it had to jump on the brakes numerous times, but I've never seen that bend like that. But I got it straightened out. So what I'm doing is I'm going with an earlier style pedal assembly with the Zerk fitting, and like I said, roller pedal. And this will just put it aside until we want to use it again. It works good, but like I said, I'd rather have a roller pedal. So I'm going to go for roller pedal. I don't want to have to cut all this off of the stock one, so we're just going to put it aside. Okay, as far as the Bowden tube, if you remember in my last video, I'll even post a couple of pictures. The end of my metal clutch tube was really gigged up, so I had to trim it. And running the original Bowden tube with that many spacers, I still couldn't get enough clutch pedal response. So what I've done is I've gone through a longer one from a 68 through 79 VW bus, and as you can see, that's going to give me the length that I need, and I'll still be able to add these two shims to it and maybe get that 1.5 inch cock I need on the Bowden tube. All right, so at some point I'm going to get under here and get working on that. As you can see, it's right in there. All right, won't be taking the camera with me because this is pretty basic. I'm gonna go ahead and get inside here and get all that cleaned up and ready to go. We'll be back. All right, so I used the starter bushing again as a spacer, and it's given me quite a bit of a bow. So I'm hoping that's gonna be not too much. I'm gonna hook everything up and give it a try. Okay, here we are. Pedal assembly is in, clutch is hooked up. We've got enough play there. And we have enough play there. I'm just waiting for Amazon to deliver my new heavy duty accelerator cable. We're gonna get that buttoned up and we'll be able to take this for a spin. Getting closer. Okay, I just pulled the shifter off, and of course there's no shifter plate and the spring was way down there. But worst part is you listen to this. No bushing whatsoever. So guess what? Tomorrow we're putting a new bushing in. All right, I wanted to install a heavy duty accelerator cable because of course we're running dual carburetors and a roller pedal. There's a couple of little issues that I'm going to deal with here right now instead of later. So the whole thing is this bolts onto the arm of the roller pedal, and of course the pedal moves back and forth. So when it's sitting all the way like this, that is going to be at idle, right? And if this is bolted in, you do not have any room between the pedal and the little tube that protrudes out of the tunnel that the cable runs through, okay? And then the opposite way, it goes this way, and this stops it from hitting the firewall, but it also restricts the amount of throw you have. So the thing is we're going to do is we're going to trim this ear off of here, right? And I've moved this hole inbound. I've added another hole where that's going to bolt there. And then we're going to cut that little piece off of the tube. Here, let me show you what I'm talking about. Okay, here's what I'm talking about. That's the situation. So I can see that. As you can see, with the roller pedal in the idle position, there's no way you're going to get. Let me see if I can go to the other side. Okay, let's see if we can get this angle better. So you see the roller pedal is at rest. And with this, you cannot bolt the cable into place because you'll never get the, okay, like this you can see it will not bolt up into here. And when it does, your pedal is going to be all the way here and then not give you any throw for acceleration. So the first thing I'm doing, like I said, move this hole all the way to the back. I can trim this off if I want. And now what I have to do is get in here and trim off this protrusion of the accelerator cable tube. And that should give us enough so where this cable will go all the way back and you could bolt it to the roller pedal. And that will give you enough throttle. Okay, you can see this is how much I've snipped off. All right. There we go. So now I'm just going to get in here and clean this up with a file so we do not fray the new cable. Okay, and here we go. There's the final results. We have plenty of travel now. That should be enough. Let's go hook it up in the back. All right, cable's in place. Let's see. All right, plenty. Now it's time to change that shift bushing. So we're going to start back here. We got to remove the shift coupler completely, and we're going to run a string from that shift rod so we can pull it back. So let me get this set up. All right, I got the shift coupler off and I've tied a string to the end of this. And the idea is to slide the pole all the way through there and out the front and stopping it right here so I can change the bushing, and then I pull the line back and that'll give me my shift rod back where it needs to be. In theory anyways. All right, you see the shift rod in there. So what I do is I just take my trusty little magnet. Can't do it without seeing it. And then I just move it a little bit at a time. It saves the fingers from trying to get in there. All right, I gotta go pull the front inspection cover off. So I'm gonna do that right now. There are the two bolts I gotta take off. And that should take the cover off. Need a pry bar. And then the pry bar comes off. The inspection plate comes off. And in there, we're going to find our shifter tube. Okay, with enough wiggling, there is my shift rod. So we're going to pull this out far enough so we can slip that bushing in. All right, back up on top side. Okay, sometimes you have to take the rod all the way out. In my case, I had too big of a knot on this end, so I pulled it all out and corrected that, gave it a little grease on this side. Fortunately, we have the rope in there, so we're gonna go ahead and pull the rope, and that's gonna get us right where we need to be. All right, after feeding everything, my string came off, so I've got to feed it back in by hand, but same thing, I'm using my needle nose. I just got to get this far enough to be able to spin it. So let's put this camera down and see what we can do. Okay, the shift coupler is back into place. We're gonna go ahead and get the shifter back on in just a second, but now we need to go put the inspection plate in the front. All right, awesome, everything's back together. We've got a nice smooth shifting going on here. And no noise. All right, let's get the seat back in and let's drop this thing back down to the ground. to deal with just a little bit of tinkering, like the steering wheel being upside down. You got to adjust the shifter, but runs really good. Nice and straight, pretty solid. Got to fix the speedometer, that's not working. All right, not bad for a first shakedown cruise.